to leave here at noon Central Time, which is only 1 hour away. I'm here with Pepper, and we have a weird background because it says that Safari browser support is limited. And it says switch to Google Chrome. When I switch to Google Chrome, it says Google Chrome support is limited. Switch to Safari. So I'm just sitting here going, okay.
Well, I mean, you're in a different state, different background.
There you go. And actually, to be fair, blue wood is not bad at all.
No.
Now all I got to do is figure out how to get over to the chat box, though. I don't even know how to find the chat box.
Well, I don't see anyone putting in any chats yet, so we're good there.
Roll it up to get to the chat box, but I found the chat box. So if anybody,
okay, cool.
So, so for those of you guys who are not familiar, I'm actually down in Texas at the moment with my dad. He wasn't feeling well, and I came down here to check in on him and keep an eye on him. Hey, Brent.
Hey, Brent.
Brent's really excited to see us. You can tell because it's all caps.
Yes.
I'm down here to check in on my dad and everything like that. For the first week or so, it was pretty touch and go, and I was literally in his room every 5 or 6 minutes or something like that, just to keep an eye on him, make sure he's got everything he needs. He has rallied, and he's coming back. In fact, this morning he was testing a kid like normal. That's what they do. They test and work with kids. So we missed you too, Brent.
Yeah, we missed doing the show too.
So I don't have the capability to do my show from down here. So I'm going to still have to wait until the 22nd to get back on my feet to do my normal show. But since Pepper and I just sit here and chat, I figured I could probably show up and at least Pepper and I could talk.
Yeah.
We can't do our watercolor Wednesdays and we can't do all the other things, but we can at least talk.
Yeah. I mean, this is going to be a shorter show anyway, so it's not going to be a 2-hour show. So that's the good thing.
But the fact that my stepmom is in there with her kids, and my dad is resting comfortably in his bed right now, watching some weird show, which I was in there going, why are you watching? I don't know. Okay, hey, that's fine.
What's he watching?
It's something. It's a single word like the Saint or the Siren or something that starts with an S. Probably doesn't even start with an S because that's what I think it is. But he's watching something. It's some show, and it's very weird. I don't know. It looked to me. It had all of the hallmarks for the 45 seconds I was in there. It had the hallmarks of a horror flick, like the eerie music and the woman who's walking towards the door, looking, apprehensive, and then the door opens and there's people in there, and I don't know, and I was like, okay, but I didn't see anything.
Sounds like I would enjoy it.
Oh yeah, it sounds totally like something you would get into. But me, I'm sitting there going, no spaceships, I'm out.
I'll basically be like, huh. Now, only if we could do this on a spaceship.
That would be fine.
Yeah.
And not have the cat jump out of the railings all the time or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so he's watching something. I don't know. But it's him, and he's into that now. Either that or World War II planes. He's into that these days too. Actually, yeah, I don't do well with the jump scares. Ooh, no.
I've actually been noticing that one of my favorite artists, that inking artist for comics, he's been posting these videos, and I've been just watching them, and I've been loving them. Speaking of World War II, he got a commission recently, and he's been doing process videos for a kamikaze Japanese fighter pilot. But before he was in the plane, so he's been doing full on historical accurate Japanese
that's cool
garb for their kamikaze pilots. So it's basically you have the you can start to see the Japanese cultural references when when they're in their suits and stuff. So it's been fun watching it.
That is cool. That is cool.
Yeah.
I have, as far as like getting story done, I have had a number of interesting ideas, and I've been able to write. I brought a computer down here. I brought a number of little devices down here. I have my Surface. I have my iPad, and stuff like that. So I have a number of devices that I can, but nothing big like my big 22E tablet back at home. But I've been working on environment. Like this time, I'm working on. So my best friend and I got on the phone just before I came down here, and it turns out that the sailing idea that I had for my story, I accidentally lifted from him. So I didn't mean to. We've been best friends for 30 years. So it could have happened any time over the last 30 years that I had taken it from him. So I have changed the way that spaceflight works in my story to more like aircraft and airliners. So you move between towers essentially, and you fly to the next tower, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, we talked for like 3 hours separating out the two stories because he's writing a story too, and I really didn't want to lift his ideas, obviously. And it was totally innocent. We've been telling each other our stories and our story arcs for 30 years. So somewhere along the line, I just remembered that it was my idea, not his, and so that's all right. He and I made sure that every other point was absolutely discreet and not crossing over the lines.
Yeah.
So that there's no problem with that. And I actually feel like my airplane idea is more like, if you think about like the 1920s, 1930s airplane flying, sort of the aerodrome sort of concept.
Yeah.
That works. It works better anyway. I came up with much cooler ideas and stuff like that. The concept is still the same. There's still no computers that operate in hyperspace, so you still have to manually pull a little wheel to make the plane fly, and stuff like that. And you've got the little throttles to move the engines faster and slower and stuff like that. And they are mechanically linked to the engines, and they're mechanically linked to the wings and stuff like that. So it still works.
I just pictured Chang like sitting all of a sudden like, all right, going into this, and like she just sits back, and then all of a sudden like things just pop up, and she's like, doo-doo.
Right, clack 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 clack, beep 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 beep.
Yeah. So
yeah, that was the first thing I did was make the button on the console to turn off the holograms. Because of course, as soon as you get into the pilot house in the front, you turn off all the little hollows so that you can just have your controls and dials and switches. Because as soon as you go into hyperspace, all those hollows would get staticky anyway, and you wouldn't be able to see through them because the computers would go down. So,
interesting thought. You have a holographic person that helps you, and all of a sudden they go into a hyperspace thing. Something hits, some sort of radiation like hits, and all of a sudden the holographic life form is permanently and cannot be shut down.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Yeah,
it turns evil.
Different races. That's one of the things that's interesting is that all the different races are aliens in my story.
Yeah.
And the way that they communicate with each other is through holograms projected into the room. So, like, one of the races lives under high pressure, and so the physical person is underneath the floor or above the deck in these high pressure tubes where they live. But then the hologram projects them into the room next to, say, Chang or any of the other characters so that they can talk and interact and be part of it. Well, they can't do that in hyperspace. So like all of those crew members have to go buckle down and strap in and prepare for it, and they can't help. There's no way they can help the ship during that flight. So It's an interesting side thing. So Brent's been working on resin 3D printing some buildings. That's kind of cool.
That's nice.
Oh, Brent, my 3D deck leveler came in. My Z-axis deck leveler came in for my printer. So as soon as I get home, I'm going to be taking apart the deck and putting in this new leveler. So apparently, the Photon, which is the printer I have, has a ball joint on the deck, so that when the deck goes down, after a certain number of prints, it lifts up like this. It starts to tilt on the ball joint. And so what somebody has done is, for about $30, you get this aluminum rig that you pull the ball joint out on the deck and then put this rig in place and then bolt it in, and then it's got adjustment screws to adjust the deck. So once it's adjusted, and you don't have to mess with it anymore, you know. So that's kind of cool. I'm like, I've been looking for, you know, that, and so I got that in, and apparently it came in from the UK. I didn't know that, so it took forever because I ordered it as soon as I got my printer, and my printer I got like, you know, 3-4 weeks ago, and I've been waiting for this to come in. I'm like, dang it, I can't print anything until this comes in, and then all of a sudden this came on, and so now I'm down here, so now I can't print anything until the 22nd. So it's like, all right. But that's all right. It's here. My Z deck leveler is here. So Brent, I'll be printing, and I don't know if you've been seeing some of the stuff that's been going on, but there's a guy who's been making all of the old FASA miniatures from the original Star Trek FASA game from the 80s. And so I've been downloading all the STLs from all those. So I'm just waiting to print those out. I'm going to have a little army of starships soon. It'll be wonderful.
You sit there and just make enough of them for 3D chess.
Right. That's kind of what we do anyway, is we play all the games on the table, you know, where you're shooting with each other, shooting at each other, and all that stuff. So cool. So there you go. That's the state of my art right now. Is I've been redoing. I had to redo that world building piece where how does hyperspace work. I had to go back and redo that.
Okay.
But I think the newer version is better. I like the newer version a whole lot better. So that's a good thing. The other thing that's happened is that I went through and I changed out the world building between the two cultures. I started building my bad guys, and I realized that my bad guys were just bad guys because they were bad. There was no like explanation. And I was like, well, that's two-dimensional. So while driving down here, my kid and I were in my car, and I started asking him, you know, why are my bad guys bad? What's the problem? What's going on? And we sort of did this wonderful in-depth dive on why the bad guys are bad. And it became really cool. But then it required me to like change the government and change like how it exists and all that stuff. So I had to tear all that out, and I put in all the new stuff. So you know, this hasn't gone to waste. I've been rebuilding, you know, working on. I know that we made promises we weren't doing any more world building. However, I feel like this is editing, world building editing. It's not really world building. It's
Well, I mean, if you don't, I heard a long time ago, and this is just something that I heard because I can't remember exactly where I heard it. You can develop your hero or your heroes all you want, but if you develop them to a certain point, they're going to be a hard character and very inflexible.
Yeah.
Your villains should be inflexible. Your heroes should be flexible. It makes it for a dynamic push and pull between the two of them. So if you have a more flexible range of your villain, that means that the story will be driven by their actions and not by the hero's actions.
Yeah.
And I think the way that you've done and everything set up, you've done it in a way where you kind of focused all on your crew and in that part of the story. So it's not exactly editing as it is basically making sure that you got this part in so that it had better explanation.
Yeah.
Um,
And I
which is
feel
totally
like
fine because that happens.
hmm
But at the same time, like when I was hearing that, it was like I think it was at like a discussion in one of the comic book conventions I was attending,
yeah.
or one of a writer was talking like you can develop the character all you want, but if you develop too much, it becomes rigid, and if you don't develop one side more than the other, the side that you develop first very thoroughly is going to be the rigid one. And some stories do not set up well for that.
And I ended up with a character. Now I have a villain. So when I get back to, or at least the setup for a villain, and I know where this person, he or she, I haven't figured it out yet. I know where they will show up in the story. And so I want to do my little rolling up a character because I've got a random character generator
Mm-hmm.
that I built. You roll the dice, and if it's above 50, it's male. If it's below 50, it's female, or whatever. Then you roll the dice for the ethnicity, and it's based on the diversity of. It's America centric. That was all the diversity I could figure out at the time. I didn't have numbers for the whole world, so I could only. But then you can roll the dice and come up with a random personality, and you can roll the dice. So it's really cool. So I'm going to film that at some point in time, and do the character design on that one, and then I'll publish that out too. That way. So I haven't decided whether the character is male or female. I'm going to let the dice do that.
Okay.
So, but that I've now decided, though, I know what the job of that villain is, so we're
Okay.
going to develop that up. And originally, I wasn't going to have a villain. It was going to be a man versus environment story, but all of my stories are always man versus environment, and I realized that we all love like the villains that show up in Star Trek, and we all love the villains that show up everywhere. And I'm like, crap, I really need a villain. And my wife was like, yeah, you never do villains, so you should do a villain. And I'm like,
Everyone needs a Q.
right, exactly.
Everyone needs a
It's a bad
Q.
guy.
Everyone needs a Q.
Totally do. So
Yeah.
that's where we're going with this. It's gonna happen. So we're gonna end up with that. Oh yeah, Brent's showing me the print he's doing on buildings. This is what I am fighting. Yeah, I can see that. He's doing building design right now, and that's rough.
Mm.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
I
So
don't envy him.
yeah,
Building buildings in 3D is not an easy thing as people think.
at some point in time, I want to build like building fronts and stuff like that for my war games.
Mhm.
Whenever I do mecha war games, I think buildings would be fun, but I really want to get a filament printer before I do that, because I think printing them all in resin would be ridiculously overkill.
Well, I mean, I've actually been getting into. I've been watching a lot of miniature building.
Yeah.
And I found out it's incredibly cheap.
Yeah.
It's really cheap. Like, you can use trash and get away with it, so long as it looks good in the end. No one has to know what it's been made with. But there's this, for some of the stuff like that they do, like if you want to put an added element that's more expensive, like 3D printing would be the way to go. So, but I am gonna get to what I've been up to.
Yes. What have you been up to?
So, last time I was on Friday. I said I was gonna have show and tell.
Ooh, wait, let me make you big screen.
Yeah.
Look at that.
So I did. I was asked to do Addams Family Meets the Munsters for a tattoo.
Wow.
This is the first concept that was rejected because it's going to be going on the thigh, and they didn't think that this would work for that position.
That's a big thigh.
Yeah. So in this one, I actually have the two kitties, Cousin It Thing, their pet bat and their pet octopus, and I also have Lily's younger brother, who's a werewolf, and accurately enough, Lily, Morticia's younger sister or older sister,
Huh.
who, if you go by the TV show, because this is both by the 1960s TV shows, you can take it down. I'm going to put this down. Um, if you go by the 1960s TV shows, Lily was actually supposed to be married to Gomez, and Morticia and Gomez met at their wedding, and that's basically on how Morticia and Gomez got married. But obviously, if you go by the actual lore, it's much different. So these,
Right.
all my images are based off of the 1960s TV shows. So the other image I have posted on Instagram and other places. So if you want to look at the other image, that's great. It's minusing Thing, the animals, Cousin It, and the additional two plants. It's just the family. It's no plants or animals or anything like that. The other thing is I was trying to get some thumbnailing done, which I got preliminary thumbnails done for another comic. And I got some NDA work out of the way.
Yeah.
So that's been done. I was trying to get that done as fast as possible, but darn, my type A personality kicked in and was like, nope, you're going to do this until it's perfect.
Right.
And so that's not against them, but at the same time, like, I do realize that I definitely went past like the 30 days that normally occurs with that contract. And the main reason why was, well, I had another contract that was paying me immediately, and I needed to do that right then and there, and I probably should have been more communicative. So basically, I have a bunch of stuff I can't even show people. So
Right. That works.
So yeah, that's basically what's been going on. This week, I'm starting to just try to get back into the groove of doing things like for personal reasons. I haven't been able to do that in a bit, so yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I'm gonna be trying to do thumbnailing, some stuff. I rewrote my board so that I know exactly where I need to go from here. So
that's going to be one of my goals when I get back, is
Yeah.
rewrite that board.
Yeah.
Because that big blackboard behind me, that's not behind me here, because I'm in my dad's office. But the big blackboard that's behind me in Colorado in my office, that just needs to be cleared.
Mhm.
I did ask the folks at Earth Tower whether I had any outstandings, and I don't think I do. So that'll clear that board completely. And I was going to work on illustration 8 for Airship 27, and they asked me to start doing the cover on that, and this kind of got in the way. I'm going to see if I can't come up with some sketch ideas for the cover and take pictures of it and send it to them. But yeah, once those two are clear, Airship's out. That leaves only Fred and Fred's work, and then I can clear Fred, and then we can start working on Bellatrix Rising in earnest. So that'll be great.
Yeah.
That's my battle plan when we get back. Is we were doing good on this. I'm also going to continue. I've been doing Springs Monday now, where I do a Springs comic on Monday, so that we can just continue having Springs comics throughout the year. I think that'd be good. It makes me happier. It makes the world happier. I think whenever I put out little funny robots not being able to drink coffee jokes. So that's the thing. So I think that's kind of that's something I want to try to continue doing. Is the little Springs comics seem like a thing.
Yeah, I think I found a whole stash of my my sketch cards that I cut out from scrap watercolor paper. Um, so like I have a bunch of them on my desk right now where I'm just like, I'm gonna take the day and just kind of do a bunch of them. The one of the games that I am attached to as an artist, they have a Discord where they basically go request a cryptid, and so I'm going back through there and I'm going through there and actually pulling some of the people's suggestions and I'm like drawing them.
Right.
Um, one of them is the recent. I don't know if you've seen this, but it's like basically a baby chick, like a little chick
Right.
that was born with two sets of legs.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Like four
Yeah,
legs too.
yeah,
That's
and
weird.
so everyone's calling it the baby griffin chicken. Like in my mind, I'm like, I've had chickens before, so in my mind, I'm like, a farmer's gonna look at this and go, I can get double the legs.
Right. The
Let
farmer
me make
look at it
sure,
and say double drumsticks.
yeah, like let me make sure that this chicken gets to be a chicken. Like part of me thinks like he's gonna start breeding this thing to try to get more like it. You know, like eventually, if it becomes like that dominant, it will be like one of those things where chickens now evolve to have four legs plus wings. And like in my mind, I'm just like, oh, this is bad, but this is on how genetic modification works for animals sometimes. So it's like, oh no. But I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Feels kind of
yes.
like this is gonna go south quick, huh?
Well, it's not like griffins are normally two different or three different. Like they're like anywhere from two to four different animals combined. So they're
Right.
technically chimeras. This one is all chicken. This is
All
just
the
like
way.
all chicken, all just real chicken. You know, no snake tails, no goat heads. Um, and honestly, it's fun to look at, and I know everyone's like, "Oh, but that's animal abuse," and I'm like, "Listen, like farmers have been doing this for years. You would not believe on how many cows I've seen that look like they have been like on steroids, but they were bred to look like that."
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I agree. I used
So,
to have the sniffles because of the weather. Is it the weather?
uh, between that and we were asked to keep our ACs on nonstop, and if anyone knows me very well, I am highly allergic to dust and dust mites. So my sniffles are because my AC is on, and our ductwork, as the apartment has said, is not shared. However, it is shared because the people above us, or someone in our building that is above us, which shares our ventilation for our AC units, has been smoking cigarettes.
Oh yeah.
So, in addition to sniffling because of that, I'm sniffling because from the dust. I'm sniffling because of that.
Right. Yeah, I had the horrible headache that I usually get just before a storm rolls in down here. And I'm like, man. So apparently I'm now a weather vane. I didn't know that, but I am. So I can tell you now 2 days before a storm rolls in, apparently. That's how I know.
I know a storm is about to roll in. Usually, not because I get a headache. Actually, I get super tired.
Yeah.
I get like really, really tired one day, and like non-functional tired. Like I can't focus. I have to like I want to sleep all day. Can't do anything,
Yeah.
and I try to force myself to do stuff, and it just doesn't happen. Like I can't even like it's just like I'm apathetic all of a sudden,
Right, right, right.
and then the day of the storm hits, and it's like I don't have the time to settle. Like
Right.
like
We got work to
I
do.
need to do everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah,
So yeah,
it's gloomy and wet out there, but I think that at least it has gotten above freezing, which is good. Yeah, 1 degree above freezing. Well, that's nice.
yeah. Yeah, I
It,
know here. I don't know when you. I know you're going to be in Texas for a little bit longer, at least 10 days. But yeah, you're not missing the weather here because
oh,
I
I
think
bet
Bill
you.
looked it up. I think Bill looked it up. We're supposed to be in the negative digits soon at
Yeah,
some
you're in
point.
the negative digits by Celsius. You're like at negative 17 right now.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, I looked that up because, of course, my phone does both. You know, it does
yeah,
down here and it does Arvada at the same time, so I can see both of them. And I've been watching the weather plunge up there. It's been entertaining. Um, so yeah, there's that.
yeah.
Well, I am running out of things to say, and
Well, actually,
going.
I did have a question for you because
Okay.
a very important day is coming up, and I know you're in Texas. And what are your Valentine's Day plans?
So, I was thinking that too, because like I'm going to be down here day after tomorrow for Valentine's Day. And ironically, it looks like my Valentine's Day plans are to have my birthday party for my kid, which is
Okay.
kind of weird. But my kid doesn't usually get to have birthdays with the grandparents because he's got a middle of the school year birthday party.
Mm.
So that's a big deal. But as far as Valentine's Day goes, um, my wife and I have been talking about it. Usually we spend a quiet night together with dinner, is our Valentine's Day. So we just decided we'll have Valentine's Day on the 23rd. We'll just move it out to when we get back.
Gotcha.
That's the battle plan. What about you?
We are gonna go to basically we're eating out all 3 meals.
Uh,
um, we are taking ourselves off a diet for one whole day. Um, I just want to put it out there that yesterday I did weigh myself. I'm finally under. I've lost enough to be 20 pounds different from when I started.
you've lost 20 pounds.
Yeah.
Good job.
So, but basically, what it is we're gonna go to a place to get Bill's favorite breakfast. Um, and then lunch is gonna be tacos, which is one of my favorites.
Tacos.
And then we're going to,
Tacos down here, by the way.
yeah. Well, I mean, in Colorado, there's a couple of good places.
Yeah.
You know, they're
They're not bad.
there's some places that are pretty bad though. So I mean, I'm like, so yeah.
That's good, Brent.
Oh, Brent, I'm sorry that you get. I just want to be friends.
That one's good. That one's good.
Oh man, that's good. And then we're in the, but basically we're ending it like what we normally do is we go out to like a restaurant that we don't normally go to every day. My husband likes trashy Italian food from Olive Garden. I refuse to go. Yeah, I refuse to go to Olive Garden this year. Like we've been let me be realistic. We've been going to an Olive Garden for like 3 years in a row. I want to go somewhere that's much different and has better food. It's nothing against if you like Olive Garden, that's great. That more power to you. But like I'm very finicky when it comes to my good, like what tastes good as far as Italian food goes, and
right.
And Olive Garden it tastes to me like fast food Italian style. So
Okay.
So I just their desserts are nice. That's about all I can say. But I worked for their parent company and for a while, and I can say that without a doubt they get their desserts from somewhere else. They don't make them.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
But that's what we're gonna do. As far as art goes, I think I have a draw this in your style challenge that is for Valentine's Day by a person who basically there's a lot of them that have been popping up for Valentine's Day themes. So I think I'm gonna just do one this year. Okay. And that's about it.
Yeah, we'll make plans on Valentine's on the way back from, but it'll probably be something very similar.
Yeah.
Usually, we also get like little chocolates or something like that too. So
No.
we get her chocolates and we get me chocolates, and it works. So it works. And
Yeah.
then we have to get the kid chocolates too, because he doesn't want to be left out of chocolates. I mean, that seems ridiculous. So he gets chocolates too.
He doesn't like what my mom used to give me, those little chalky hearts that said I
Yep.
love you and motivational stuff.
Yeah. And so that's what'll happen. So as far as art goes, I'm probably still on duty here with my dad, so my art's going to be sporadic at least for the next week or two. But we are still planning. I mean, we're planning on staying here through next week, and then the following week returning. So we only really have one more week really here. And honestly, I want to spend as much time with my dad as I can. It's yeah, this is not a. I mean, his heart's only got so many beats left in it, and we know it. We know it. Everybody knows it. So it's all good. It's not all good, but it is what it is. So we do what we can. So
Understandable.
so there you go. So that's my plan. We'll come back down here in May, but I'll have a better setup and rig and less scrambled to get everything. I did bring one of my cell sets down. Because my dad used to frame pictures, as you can see around here. There's a
Yep.
lot of pictures on the wall. He used to frame pictures, and so I wanted his advice on how to set the cells so that they all line up inside the casing that I've got. Preferably not with printing new pieces that don't exist and having thousands of dollars worth of hardware inside them, because I don't think I can sell them for thousands of dollars. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's
Someone just knocked on our door.
there you go. Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to go because it's 11:45, and
Well, and we
here
did say it was going to be a short show, so
we
there you
did
go.
say it's going to be short.
Yep.
So I'm going to
So,
go.
Brent, nice seeing you.
It was good to see you, Brent, and I'm sure that there's 3 other people who are out there. So for the 3
Yes,
others
thank
who
you.
are out there watching, it was good to see you guys too.
Yeah.
We'll probably be back together again next Friday. I'm pretty sure that everything will be good next Friday. We can check back in. So
Okay.
that'll be where we are, and I will talk to you. And thanks for joining me again, Pepper. I appreciate it. Whatever your name is, I totally spaced your name there, even though it's written underneath you. Oh well. What I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes I just don't get it. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense.
Sometimes I forget my own name, guy. It's all right. Don't worry.
Apparently, I've forgotten yours too, Bob. So it's all good.
I keep calling you Guy, but then I just realized it's your actual name.
My name. Okay. It's good to see you too, Brent. We will see you next week at this time. And in the meantime, everybody keep your eyes on the stars, and we will be awesome. Everybody be awesome too. Okay, bye. Bye, Pepper. Thank you.
Bye.